The job of the primary station is to take care of data link management. Secondary station act as slave and it works under the control of primary station. The Ethernet is further classified into two types. One is classic Ethernet and another one is switched Ethernet. Hello everyone, a warm welcome to my new session. I am Revati, Faculty, Department of Computer Science, Vidyashram First Grade College, Mysore. We are on the second session of HDLC and switching technology. Moving forward, in today's session, I am going to deal with types of station for HDLC protocol, and I am also going to deal with LAN topology. Then I'm going to deal with Ethernet, in that the Ethernet standard IEEE 802.3. At the same time, I'm going to deal with IEEE 802.3 popular versions. At the same time, I'm going to deal with frame format of IEEE 802.3 standard. Before going to start today's session, let me to recall the thing which I discussed in the last session. In the last session, we studied HDLC protocol. At the same time, we studied the different transmission modes comes under HDLC protocol. Then we studied HDLC frame format. But in today's class, we are going to study the different types of HDLC protocol. So, in HDLC, what is HDLC? It is high level data link control protocol. So, here we are going to get three different types of station. In that first one, primary station, the second one, secondary station, and the third one, it is combined station. So, I repeat, in HDLC protocol, we are going to get three different stations. In that first one, primary station, the second one, it is secondary station, and the last one, it is combined station. Moving further, we are going to get primary station. So, what is primary station? So, the primary station simply takes care of data link management. I repeat, the job of the primary station is to take care of data link management. So, here the primary station act as manager. That means the station is going to control overall operations of data. So, it is also called data link management. So, the job of the primary station here is to take care of data link. So, it's also called master station. The main responsibilities of primary station is to control operation of all the other stations on the link. So, in a network link, all the stations are connected each other. The main responsibility of primary station is to control the operations of all the other stations which is present in the link. So, it acts as a master. That means it acts as master and controls and coordinates operations of secondary stations and also handles error recovery at data link layer. So, here primary station act as master. So, it is also responsible for control the operations of secondary stations and also handles all the recovery at data link layer. That means it is capable to handle all the error recovery at data link layer. So these are the responsibilities of primary station. It also manages and controls connections to all the secondary station. That means here primary station is responsible for managing and controlling the connections of all the secondary sessions and sending the commands. So what is the job of the primary station here? It is going to control all the secondary stations, and at the same time it is responsible for sending the commands to the secondary station. So this station is also responsible for error detection, line control and control of data flow. So here the primary station is also responsible for error detection, line control as well as flow of data. That means control of flow of data. So what are the responsibilities of primary station here? It is responsible for error recovery. At the same time, it is responsible for error detection. At the same time, it is also responsible for line control and control of flow of data. At the same time, it is also responsible for managing and controlling secondary stations, at the same time sending commands to the secondary station. So to communicate with secondary stations, it requires unbalanced mode. Think that suppose primary station want to communicate with secondary station, then it uses unbalanced mode. So the primary station is responsible for connecting and disconnecting data link in the case of communication among primary and secondary station. So here primary station is going to take all the responsibility of connecting secondary station as well as disconnecting secondary station. So these are the some of the responsibilities of primary station. Moving further, we are going to get secondary station. So what are the responsibilities of secondary station? Here, the secondary station generally gives the response. I repeat, it is response to the command that are sent from the primary station. So, dear student, remember that the primary station is going to send the command to the secondary station. Now, it is the job of the secondary station is to respond to that command. So, that is the main job of secondary station. So, the secondary station generally gives the response to the commands that are sent from the primary station. So, this station act as slave. I repeat, this station act as slave, whereas primary station act as master. So, here secondary station act as slave and basically operates and works under the control of primary station. So, here secondary station act as slave and it works under the control of primary station. It only transmits or sends response frame when this response frame is being requested by the primary station. I repeat, here the secondary station is going to send only the response frame. Only when the primary station is going to request secondary station to send the response. So, it only transmits or sends response frame when this response frame is being requested by the primary station. So whatever the response the secondary station is going to send, that is in the form of response frame. So it is the response frames that are issued by the secondary station. So here the secondary station is going to send response frame to the primary station, whereas the primary station is going to send commands to the secondary station. These stations are usually terminals. That means the secondary stations are usually terminals and that are attached to mainframes. I repeat, here secondary stations are mainly terminals. Terminals means what? It is a device and they are attached to the mainframe. So the secondary stations has no ability or have direct responsibility to control data link. Here in secondary station, they don't have any ability or they don't have any rights to control data link. So all the control management of data links are carried out by the primary station. It uses unbalanced mode is communication among primary and secondary station. That means to communicate secondary station and primary station, they are going to use unbalanced communication mode. I repeat, to communicate each other, that means suppose if you want to communicate primary station and secondary station each other, then they are going to use unbalanced mode. Further, we are going to get another type, that is combined station. So how many types we are going to get? Primary station, secondary station and combined station. So what is combined station? Here the name itself indicates that it is going to combine both the stations. So it is going to combine primary station as well as secondary station. So a combined station, as name suggests, generally act as combination of primary station as well as secondary station. So here combined station is nothing but it is a combination of primary station as well as secondary station. It establishes and tears down their own connection. That means in combined station, it is the connections are established by own. The combined station usually issues both command and response. So dear student, just remember that in primary station, we are going to send the command, whereas in secondary station is responsible for sending response. But in combined station, it is going to perform both the jobs. That means it is going to send the commands as well as it is going to give the response, or it is going to send the response. So here it is going to use balanced mode to communicate each other. In combined station, it uses balanced transmission mode of communication among the combined stations. Each of combined station is fully in control of its and does not even rely on any of other stations on data link. That means whatever the station comes under combined station, they are fully control of itself. That means they does not comes under any other station. So whatever the combined stations are there, they are controlled by itself, and even they does not rely on any other stations on data link. Dear student, just remember that in combined station, all the controls and management is done by itself, and they does not rely on any other stations which is present in the data link. So the combined stations are generally used and required in point-to-point serial link. That means the combined stations are mainly used in point-to-point serial links like V.35 link to channel service unit or data service unit. So here the combined stations are mainly used in point-to-point serials. So the name itself indicates that it is going to combine both the stations. That means it is going to include both the stations, primary stations and secondary stations, whereas each of combined stations is fully in control of itself. So here we are going to get three different types of stations. In that first one, primary station, the next one, secondary station, and the last type here it is combined station. Moving further, we are going to get LAN topology. So what is LAN topology? What is LAN? LAN is nothing but local area network. Then what about topology? It is a geometrical or it is a physical representation of the devices which is connected by using network. I repeat, it is a physical representation of the devices which is connected through network. So what are the topology comes under LAN topology? What are the different topology comes under LAN topology? Here it is bus, then ring and star topology. So these are the three topology which comes under LAN topology. Then what is Ethernet? That is IEEE 802.3. So it is a Ethernet standard especially designed for LAN topology. It is a Ethernet standard which is designed for LAN topology. The LAN topologies are bus, ring and star topology. So what is IEEE? Here IEEE is nothing but Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineering. This is a networking standard. That means it includes some of the networking standard, and it is mainly designed for networking, and it mainly operates on physical and data link layer of OSI reference model. I repeat, it is mainly used to map physical and data link layers of OSI reference model. So here Ethernet is a set of technology. I repeat, it is a set of technology or standard and protocols that is mainly used for LANs. What is the use of IEEE 802.3 is? It is mainly designed for LAN. So here the Ethernet is nothing but a standard or technology, and it is a protocol, and it is mainly designed for your LAN. So it was first standardized in the year 1980 by IEEE 802.3 standard. So that means it is first time standardized in the year 1980. So here IEEE 802.3 defines the physical layer and the medium access control layer. That means it is max sublayer of the data link layer for wired Ethernet networks. So here this IEEE 802.3 is mainly designed for wired Ethernet networks. So it defines the physical layer and the medium access layer. That means it is going to map physical layer and data link layer. So the data link layer includes two sublayers, that is logic link layer and another one is medium access control, that is MAC sublayer. So I repeat, the data link layers are further divided into logic link layer, that is logically linked layer, and medium access control layer. Here the IEEE 802.3 is standardized in the year 1980. So here we are going to get two types of Ethernet. That means Ethernet is classified into two types. One is classical Ethernet, another one is switched Ethernet. I repeat, the Ethernet is further classified into two types. One is classic Ethernet and another one is switched Ethernet. So what is classic Ethernet? It is the original form of IEEE 802.3. So the original form of IEEE 802.3 is called classic Ethernet. So here the classic Ethernet is the original form of Ethernet that provides data rate between 3 to 10 megabits per second. Here the classic Ethernet standards have different varieties. So the varieties are commonly referred as 10 base X. I repeat, the different varieties of classical Ethernet is defined by 10 base X. So where 10 is the maximum throughput. So here 10 is nothing but the maximum throughput. That is the data rate 10 Mbps. So here base is denoted by the baseband. So here the base is used to denote baseband type. So here 10 is used to represent throughput and base is used to represent baseband and X is the type of media used. X is nothing but the type of media used. So what type of media it is going to use? We know that this is the standard mainly designed for wired LAN connection. So if it is wired, then what is the standard we are going to get? That is coaxial, twisted pair cable and fiber optics. These are some of the examples for the transmission media used. Then we are going to get another type of Ethernet, that is switched Ethernet. So what is switched Ethernet? Dear student, just remember that in classical Ethernet, to establish the connection, we are going to use repeater. But In switched Ethernet, the name itself indicates that we are going to use the switches. So, it uses switches to connect to the station in the LAN. That means to establish the connection between stations in the LAN, we are going to use switch. Here, it replaces the repeaters used in classic Ethernet and it utilizes full bandwidth. So, in switched Ethernet, we are going to replace repeaters. So, repeaters are used in classic Ethernet, whereas the switched Ethernet make use of switches. So, these are the variations. That means the IEEE 802.3 will have popular variations. What is the first variation? Here it is IEEE 802.3. It is the original standard for 10 base 5. I repeat, this is the original standard for 10 base 5. So, it make uses thick single coaxial cable. I repeat, it make uses thick coaxial cable into which connections can be tapped by drilling into the cable to the core. So, in IEEE 802.3, the original IEEE standard is 10 base 5 and it uses thick coaxial cable. Then what is 10? That is 10 is the maximum throughput. So, the 10 is the maximum throughput. That means the data rate. Here the data rate is 10 megabits per second and base is used to denote baseband. So, here baseband transmission. So, base is nothing but baseband transmission and 5 is used to refer the segment length. So, here 5 refers to the maximum segment length of 500 meter. I repeat, so here 10 is nothing but the throughput, that is data transmission rate, whereas base is nothing but baseband transmission and the 5 is nothing but the length. Here the maximum segment length is 500 meter. The another version of IEEE 802.3 is 3A. I repeat, the another version here it is IEEE 802.3A. This gave the standard for thin coaxial. So here we are going to use thin coaxial cable. Here 10 is nothing but the throughput where base is baseband and 2 is the length, the segment length. So, here the thin coaxial cables are connected by using BNC connector. I repeat, the thin coaxial cables are connected by using BNC connector and here 2 refers to the maximum segment length and it is about 200 meter. I repeat, it is about 200 meter, that is 185 meter, whereas 10 is your data rate, that is 10 Mbps. Then the another version of IEEE 802.3 here is 3I. I repeat, it is 3I. So, this is a standard for twisted coaxial cable. That means 3.5 indicates that here we are going to use twisted pair cables. So here twisted pair cables is further classified into two types, that is sealed twisted pair and unsealed twisted pair. But here 3I, it uses unsealed twisted pair. I repeat, here 3I indicates that it's going to use unsealed twisted pair cable. So to indicate it is IEEE 802.3I, we are going to use this standard. What is the standard? It is 10 base T. So what is 10? Once again it is data rate, that is 10 Mbps. Then base is baseband transmission, whereas T indicates it is twisted pair cable. The another variations in IEEE 802.3, here it is 802.3J. Here I means it is for twisted pair cable. Here J indicates it as optical cable. That means fiber opticals. So this gives the standard for Ethernet over fiber. That means here we are going to use fiber optical cables. And the standard here it is 10 base F. So 10 is nothing but the data rate, whereas base is nothing but the baseband transmission, and F is nothing but fiber optical cables. So that uses fiber optical cable as medium of transmission. So in IEEE 802.3, it uses different types of cables for the communication. So these are the certain standards comes under IEEE 802.3. Moving further, the summary of IEEE 802.3 popular version. So the IEEE 802.3 includes 4 different versions. In that first one, it is IEEE 802.3 and it is represented as 10 base 5. Here 10 is nothing but your transfer rate, whereas base is nothing but baseband transmission and 5 is nothing but segment length. So it is 500 meter. Whereas the next version here it is IEEE 802.3A. Before that, the IEEE 802.3 that is mainly used in bus topology, and it uses thick coaxial cable for transmission, and it is established in the year 1983. Whereas the second version of IEEE 802.3, here it is base, that is 10 base 2. Here 10 is your data rate, whereas base is nothing but base transmission, that is baseband transmission, and 2 is nothing but the distance covered. So it is 200 meter. So here also it uses bus topology and it uses thin coaxial cables, and in the year 1985 it is established. And the third version of IEEE 802.3, here it is IEEE 802.3I, and the standard here it is 10 base T. I repeat, here it is 10 base T. So what is 10? 10 is nothing but the data transfer rate, that is 10 Mbps, whereas base is nothing but baseband transmission and T is nothing but twisted pair cable. So it is used in star topology. It is going to make use of unsealed twisted pair cable and it is introduced in the year 1990. The last version of IEEE standard here is IEEE 802.3J. That the standard here it is 10 base F. So here 10 is nothing but the data rate, where base is nothing but baseband, F is nothing but fiber optic, and it is mainly used in the star topology, and the cable here used is fiber optic cable and it is introduced in the year 1993. Moving further, once again, we are going to get the IEEE standard. So, what is the IEEE standard? That is IEEE 802.3. So, this is the original standard for 10 base 5. So, here 10 is your data rate, base is baseband transmission and 5 is the segment, data segment or length segment, it is 500 meter. So, it is going to use thick coaxial cable to establish the connection. So, here 10 is the maximum throughput, that is 10 Mbps, that is megabits per second. Base is used to denote baseband and 5 is the maximum segment length, that is 500 meter. Once again, we are going to get another type, that is IEEE 802.3A. 3A. So here 802.3A is mainly used in coaxial. That means this gave the standard for coaxial and it is represented by 10 base 2, where 10 is nothing but data transfer rate, base is nothing but baseband transmission. Here 2 is nothing but the length or segment length, it is 200 meter, that is approximately 185. So, here it uses BNC connector. I repeat, here it uses BNC connector. That means the coaxial cables are connected by using BNC connector. The another type here it is 3I, that is IEEE 802.3I. So, this is the standard for twisted pair cable and it is represented by 10 base T. So, here 10 is nothing but the data rate 10 megabits per second, base is nothing but baseband transmission and T is nothing but twisted pair cable. So, the twisted pair cables are classified into two types, sealed twisted pair and unsealed twisted pair. But here we are going to use unsealed twisted pair to establish the connection. So, moving further, we are going to get another variation, that is IEEE 802.3J. So, this gave the standard Ethernet over fiber optics. That means it is going to use fiber optical cable and it is represented by 10 base F, where 10 is nothing but the data transfer rate, where base is baseband transmission and F is nothing but fiber optical cables. Moving further, we are going to get the frame format of classical Ethernet, and that is itself called IEEE 802.3. I repeat, this is the frame format of Classical Ethernet. The Classical Ethernet is also referred as IEEE 802.3. So here we are going to get 5 different frames. One is preamble and the length here it is 8 bytes. The next field it is destination address and the length is 6 bytes. The next field it is source address and the length is 6 bytes. Next we are going to get data and padding. The minimum length here it is 46 bytes. The maximum length here it is 1500 bytes. And at the last, we are going to get CRC, that is cyclic redundancy code, and the length here is 4 bytes. So let's see the formats one by one. So what's the first field? It is preamble, and it is the starting field that provides alert and timing pulse for transmitting. So, I repeat, this is the first field that provides alert message and timing pulse for transmission. We know that the frames are transmitted. The frames are synchronized by using clock pulse. So, in the case of Classic Ethernet, it uses 8 byte. Suppose if you are using IEEE 802.3, then the length is 8 byte. In the case, if it is not Ethernet, that is Classic Ethernet, then the length is 7 byte. If it is Classical Ethernet, then the length here it is 8 byte. If it is not Classical Ethernet, then it uses 7 bytes. Then the next field, it is start of frame delimiter. So it is a 1 byte field in IEEE 8023 frame that contains an alternating pattern. I repeat, so the start of frame delimiter contains the alternate frames, that is in the form of ones and zeros ending with 2 ones. That means the start of frame delimiter contains zeros, that means patterns of zeros and ones, and that must be ended with 2 ones. Then what is the length of this field? The length here it is 1 byte. Moving further, we are going to get destination address. Then what is the length of the destination address? Here it is 6 byte field, contains physical address of destination station. That means the name itself indicates that it is going to hold the address of destination station. And the source address, once again the length here it is 6 byte and it is going to hold the address of sending station. Then the length, the next field here it is length. It is a 7 byte field that stores the number of bytes in the data field. That means the length field capable to hold the length, I repeat, the length of the data frame. So the length holds 7 byte fields that stores the number of bytes in the data field. That means it is going to store the total number of bytes in the data field. Moving further, we are going to get data. This is a variable size field. I repeat, this is a variable size field. So it is going to get two types, minimum data length and maximum data length. So it is a variable sized field that carries the data from the upper layer. So the maximum size field is 1500 bytes. I repeat, the maximum field is 1500 bytes and the minimum field here it is 46 byte. So the maximum size of data field is 1500 bytes, whereas the minimum size of the data field is 46 bytes. So what is padding? Why we required padding? So this is added to the data. This is added to the data to bring the length of the minimum requirement of 46 bytes. For example, consider that you have only 42 byte of data. So to make it 46, what I'm going to do? I'm going to add 4 more byte to make it 46 byte. So padding is nothing but it's the way to add extra data to make it 46 bytes. So the last field here it is CRC. So what is CRC? CRC is nothing but cyclic redundancy code. So it stands for cyclic redundancy check or code. It contains the error detection information. So it is a error detection technique. It contains error detection information. These are the some of the fields of IEEE 802.3 standard. Dear students, in today's class we studied what is LAN topology. Under LAN topology we studied IEEE 802.3. The different frames comes under IEEE 802.3. In the next class, I'm going to deal with LAN topology. So under LAN topology, I'm going to deal with token bus and token ring. Dear students, from the examination point of view, this topic is very important. Thank you for watching my session. Let's meet in the next session. Until then, take care. Thank you.